Greetings, everybody. We've gathered around the table again today. Only 3 of us here today, though, because somebody sucks a little bit.
Joe kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Joe's now a camera stand, and I
Yeah.
refer to Joe as a camera stand.
Joe, the camera stand.
Yeah.
It works a little bit better that way, maybe.
It does, actually. it comes down really nice. There's nothing in the way.
Yeah, it was easy to center it and all that.
Doesn't talk so much.
Yeah, it's now I'm just talking a lot instead of Joe. And
All of a sudden.
yeah, it's going to change.
Yeah.
So,
Pocket dumps.
indeed,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Where do we want to start?
I'll kick it off. I've been carrying the most impressive pocket weighty Spyderco Toad.
It's a toad.
It's a toad. It's like a box cutter
Yeah.
that you have to resharpen.
Not yet, at least, but
It's got better steel.
yeah.
What do we got? VG10?
Yeah,
S30?
VG10 in that
VG.
guy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
way better than a box cutter.
It's just cute and weird, and the more I own it, the more I enjoy it. So
It's like Spyderco's Mini Tough.
yeah, a
Actually,
little
it
bit.
reminds me a lot of that.
I like the fact that the pocket clip is at least twice as long as the blade.
yeah, it's kind of funny. All right, who's next?
I'll do it up. Good old tried and true. I got the 940-1 Blue Spacers S90, but I'm double dumping.
Double dumping.
I also
Messy.
have the lucky one from Cold Steel with the S35. My first knife was S35 VN. It's a shocker.
Mhm.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you like carbon fiber.
I kind of like carbon
A
fiber.
little bit.
There's
a
some
little bit.
things going on.
Yeah.
Carbon fiber. All right, what do you care?
And I got the Dan Taupe Bulldog in 3V.
It's a nice one.
It is a fun little thing.
We should get a zoom in on that. It's a pretty knife. Customized because he made it extra slicey behind the edge.
Yeah, and it is nice
Well
and
thinned out
slicey.
for sure.
It was feather sticking pretty nice tonight.
It was a cute stubby one for sure.
Overall, yeah,
Little mini gut shovel.
good stuff. All right, get your stuff off my table.
I was going to argue the fact that it's your table, but it's your table.
It's my table.
Yeah, can't argue.
Yep.
All right, the reason we're here.
It is for the Benchmade.
Oh, we're on such a Tacti-Kool-Aid run. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable how much Tacti-Kool-Aid we actually drink.
Yep, and this week we are sipping from the SOCP Folding Dagger.
That's a
Boom.
tasty drink right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it
It's-
is a fun one.
It's an interesting knife.
That's 4.5 inch of good time right there.
Yeah, and yeah, it's actually the SOCP 4.5, as Dennis just said there. It's a 4.5-inch blade. Brand new release from Benchmade for 2018. It was like kind of a mid-year announcement, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah. It was after even the Blade Show. I don't even know if they had it at the Blade Show or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was very quickly released after the announcement, if I remember correct as well there.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. And let's see, here it is.
Yep.
So overall specs, I believe 4.5 inch blade. What do we got on the weight on that bad boy?
Hold up. There we go. 4.57?
Okay. Yeah, that's somewhat what I expected
It's a big knife, let's be honest here.
for it. Yeah.
For 4.5 ounces, that's not bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
And overall length, she's not a small knife.
No.
Like I want to say, yeah, it's an easy 10.5 inch knife. We don't have a ruler on hand right now because again, Joe sucks. It's normally his job with calipers and rulers
No.
and the things of the like. But you know, we're gonna rag on him all night long because Joe sucks.
Because he sucks.
Just love it.
But came out this year, mid-year release. What's she using for a steel?
That is a good question.
D2.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
And similar to their fixed-bladed Infidel that they just came out with this year, a lot of the black class has been really promoting some of the D2 tool steel that they're using, right? So,
and they've been doing a lot of offerings in the black class this year, it seems like.
Yeah, it seems to be what they're mainly focusing on almost.
that is something we were going to dabble on, is just how many offerings they've thrown at the black class this year compared to a blue class or compared to a hunt series or...
And that's a fact.
And that's a fact.
And that is a fact.
417 fact. In fact.
Yep. So we're mostly going to be focusing on the SOCP today, but we are going to be touching base on the fact a little bit as well, just because
Similar.
similar both in black class, both 2018 releases.
A lot of similarities through and through. One of the big similarities is even the spear point that both of them have, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they do both come down to a fair bit of a needle point to them.
have we got to wait on that?
Do we have weight?
Because it's significantly lighter than the SOCP. And that's a fact.
3.2.
That's pretty light. That's pretty light. Just for reference points, the Osborne that we're carrying tonight, 2.4.
Yeah, it's less than an ounce heavier than that.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, actually.
3 ounces of griptilian size, and you're working okay with that, for sure. Get the fact out of the way, until we need more facts.
And that's a fact.
This bad boy here, designed from Greg Thompson. He designed the SOCP fixed blade, which we will get a picture of a pop up there of the fixed blade as well. And its initial design was straight up, had a ring on the back of it, you pulled it out, you cleared space with it when you drew it, nice Kydex sheet that you could redraw again.
Yeah, and it was designed for the SOCP, which stood for...
Special Operations Combatives Program.
Mhm.
And it is a program that Greg Thompson did develop, and many, many divisions of the Army Special Forces, if not all of them, I believe, are now using this program as far as a close combat self-defense type of attitude, right? So, Greg Thompson, man, knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Cat.
Ebony knows what she's talking about too, but that's just 'cause she's under.
I'm not sure if she does. Out of all the cats in this house, she's probably the one that doesn't know what she's talking about.
Most of the time, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
She's just screaming the earth is flat.
She's
Yeah,
a very cute, confused kid.
and that's a fact.
417.
Kind of designed for, as we touched base, the SOCP, potential fighting aspect like that, law enforcement, first responder stuff like that. Does have a glass punch at the backside there, and it is designed as a tip-down carry. So initially, when you pull it out, it's already indexed for the glass punch and as a non-lethal sort of Kubaton sort of style option.
And can I mention how nice and subtle Benchmade's window punches are? They are very, very
unobtrusive.
Yeah, compared to other ones on the market. Can I get that to focus? There we go. Yeah, compared to other things on the market that stick out like a good quarter-inch off the back of the knife, digs into your pocket, is completely unnecessary. You don't need that much to get the job done. And I appreciate that Benchmade has always done a very effective job on small but effective on the punch, and then with tip down carry in particular. So when it is drawn, it will be drawn with
one of the few times I agree with tip down carry.
Yeah.
The non-lethal striking aspect in mind. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I do find that as a very, very smart option of deployment, but they do have a four-way clip options if you do care.
Yeah. The thumb plate's weird.
So yeah, usually with the kind of disc style thumb plates, it's usually screwed in through the top.
I can get a zoom in on that even. Very interesting that it's...
Yeah, this guy's actually has a slot machined out of the side of the blade and a bit of a T-shank on the disc there, so it's screwed into the side of the blade rather than into the spine.
And we were commenting on the fact that... Sorry, I'll get my hands out of the way so you can focus there.
And that's a fact.
That is a fact. We were commenting on the fact and the other fact and this fact that it was screwed in rather than the top. and potentially because of the thickness of the blade.
Mhm.
It gives you a better screw that you can.
And it
Go
had been
sideways,
gotten
yeah.
thin enough that they wanted to do it on the side. But I commented that some of the smaller Kershaws that just recently came out with the Emerson designs did have blade stocks that were just as thin as this, that they were still screwing into the top. So
The only thing I can say about that is with the price point of the knife, they might just be like, it's a necessary risk.
Yeah.
And actually, to tell you the truth, it's been quite a topic of conversation this week throughout all the guys in the group. I know it's a small detail, but it's one of the first times we've ever seen that detail.
It's a lot of extra work to have to do that.
And we want to know why. Like, there's been, like, we've kind of all done our homework, and none of us have been able to figure out why the machining on the side. You were talking about durability.
I think you get a stronger screw, a thicker screw this way than you do through the top.
Yeah.
And my counter argument to that was that companies that use these thumb plates on a regular basis, Cold Steel, Emerson, Zero Tolerance, Kershaw, if anyone was to figure out a stronger design to the thumb plate, would it be Benchmade before any of the other companies?
Yeah.
And I have a hard time believing that structural integrity is why the screw is on the side rather than the top.
Yeah, I
And
don't
I'm
know.
not saying it's not.
And you know what? It might not be the actual reason why they did it, but if you try to baton with this, it's going to hold up better than if you had it screwed to the top. That's all I'm saying.
Advanced Knife Pro, SOCP folder.
Let's see what happens.
I want to
Yeah.
see you popped them off the Cold Steel. Let's see what you can do with an SOCP folder.
That's what I'm
We
saying.
will not be sending this knife your way.
No.
No.
Sorry, brother.
So we're talking about the blade shape and like the clip and how you can like pull it out and everything else.
But before we do that, can we talk about how Joe sucks? No.
Joe does that. But I think we should talk about the other feature that is really relevant and you can see as soon as you look at that knife. And that's the divots.
Yep. It's so you can spin and get
Index
different
and
grips.
spinning it around. Which I never would have thought that like an actual like knife trainer would have put in a knife.
Yep.
And not because it's the wrong technique. I'm not the person to say that at all. But just I would have assumed that the things that I've been doing since childhood would have been the wrong way to spin a knife around.
And even when you're coming back, like the middle is really good, but like the thumb purchase on the back is really nice there. Even when you're coming back around and getting it into a grip, like I'm not professing to be any sort of expert either, but when I've handled knives a lot
Yeah, and I've done this my entire life.
and spun it around.
Yeah.
And being a lefty, I was explaining earlier that there's a lot of fixed blades that only come with a right-handed sheath. And in order for a lefty to be able to put his knife away when it's right-handed, is you spin it
And you,
and then draw it down into the right-handed side. So it's a technique I've developed even just working with fixed blades in a right-handed world as far as two lefties go, right? So, yeah, it's something I've come comfortable with, and I appreciate that that's why those divots are there. And also for that 1, 2, 3 purchase, wherever it may be, right?
Yeah.
Now, I get the 1, 2, and for me, I've got to place a 4 on here. So I don't know exactly how big Greg Thompson's hand is. The divots don't fit me perfectly, but I can appreciate why they're there.
I don't know if they're the exact same purpose as on the Frenzy, but the Frenzy fits better for me. In comparison to like a long knife like this for like a self-defense.
Fair
Anyways.
enough. Yeah. Nigel, fingergrips.
Yeah, I like them a lot. They're really comfy, and as Dennis has touched on, they're very easy to spin. I did want to jump back to the pocket clip, because as we were about to start talking about the divots, Paul mentioned that we had, and I don't think we actually had talked about the pocket clip and the
Have we not?
size.
Okay.
No. And why it has a hole in it and all that sort of
very
stuff.
unique
Yeah.
pocket clip on this guy. Yeah.
Kind of, it was designed as a half size. Yeah, like compared to the Fax pocket clip
And that's
there.
a fact.
Yep.
And that is a fact, yeah.
It's kind of a half-size clip there, and the intended purpose of that was so it would be able to get tucked into your pants and hide the clip behind the belt, so that way it was non-visible, discreet, and then with the hole in there, it was easy to get purchase and retrieve out for deployment.
And while we're zoomed in, I will mention as well from my hands, the index finger in particular slides like pretty much right in
Against
to
the scale.
where there. So when it comes to pulling the knife out, it works absolutely fantastic for that option right there, type of thing, right? So a little narrow of a finger, and I can get it in there really, really good.
Yeah, and even still with bigger fingers, I can get the pad of my finger in there nicely and get great purchase.
Completely removes the need for a lanyard.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's in the pants on the belt, really cool option with the tie. We'll hopefully have a little bleep with the tie behind it and the one where they're hiding it behind there. I think that's really ingenious as far as the application of this knife.
Even in your pocket, though, it's going to be easy to grab and pull out.
Yeah,
Like,
Yes, very easy to deploy. But the big round hole might draw more attention even than a longer, thin black tip because of how much real estate the round takes
It's
up.
potential.
If it was bright silver, you would see it even more.
Potentially.
Having it blacked out definitely helps with that.
That was a fact,
Indeed.
That was a fact.
by the way. So 10 inches overall. We looked at the specs, over 10 inches, 10.1 or something like that.
It's a
So
big knife.
It is.
that's a lot of money. Like, that's 450s, that's 452s is the bigger one, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's Crooked River.
Yeah,
That's,
big enough in that size. Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
This is way bigger. Not way bigger, but this is bigger than the 452 for sure.
Fair enough.
I'm not sure. Specs on that.
Probably by it, but
We might be able to bing some specs and prove Paul wrong on that one, but we'll see. We'll see.
It's only a 4-inch blade. Was it a 4.5?
4.5.
Is it really?
Yep.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I'll take it back.
As you should. Yeah. Part of the design as well with the slim and low profile of it was for the pocket clip and the ease of non-visibility was the slimness and thinness of the blade in general. Was kind of designed that it would be able to fit into MOLLE webbing if you were in service and in deployment that were wearing such gear.
You just slide right in your gear.
Literally, the thickness of a MOLLE strap is the thickness of this knife. So when closed, it can slide down into.
You can have it like in your plate carrier or something
right
like that.
in there, anywhere you want. And again, with that round pot clip,
Straight out.
super easy to deploy and get at it. And especially in that non-lethal, thank God we're in Canada and we're going to play that game.
And we were talking before about the fact that the idea behind this is you're going to deploy the knife in a military action to then get to your secondary weapon, like your pistol or something
The
like that.
whole point of the SOCP program was creating space and distance
Yeah.
to choose your second step. And whether your second step was to use more force, whether your second step was to cover, or your second step was to get the hell out, screaming like a madman. I prefer, if you've read it stream,
You gotta
Better be like a
you gotta
bad-
muffle your hands around too.
for sure, Kermit the Frog it up.
Yep.
And run for cover. But that's basically what the SOCP program is. So the fact that you can deploy it and get back, and then get back and do what you need to is a fantastic option, right?
Yeah.
As far as liners, I wanted to check. There is no skeletonization of the liners on this guy.
Yeah, and they are pretty thin, so I don't know if they would actually really need it.
It's just interesting to see. And again, aileron wasn't that skeletonized either, and we were commenting on that. And that's, again, with the trend of the black class that Benchmade is having this year. And that's a fact.
Yeah, definitely skeletonized.
I can see Paul through here. He's no better looking through the knife than not through the knife. Trust me on that one. But
That's a fact.
And that's a fact. But the skeletonizing is few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of attributes to the beefiness that they want for their knives, right?
It's impressive that it's only 4.5 ounces.
With how thin it is and how big it is. Yeah, I suppose, yeah. And a lot of that has to do with how thin the G10 scales are around the steel
Of course.
liners.
Of course.
And the dimpling and the grooves and stuff
Yeah.
will help reduce the weight for sure.
But a 4.5 ounce knife that's nice and robust, that's also 4.5 inches long, is pretty impressive.
4.5.
There you go.
So, and I think guys that like the spear point, the daggery shape, I think they'll be absolutely in love with this. The guys who like the cold steel tie lights.
Yeah. As much as Joe sucks, he is a diehard fan of the spear pointy blade, and he's been trying to justify why not to buy this guy.
Go ahead.
The only thing I was going to say is that, like, between these two, you kind of have both of the highlights covered. The 4-inch and the 6-inch, you know what I mean? And even though it's not a 6-inch blade, it is a large knife, is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's Benchmade's equivalent of something crazy that is a get-back knife with a spear point, very, very specific intentions on why it was made. And if Joe had been here, rather than thanking Joe for bringing his new SOCP folder, we have to thank the cutting edge instead. And as well for the fact as well. Get that up there. That's a fact. That the Cutting Edge Cutlery Co. let us have these knives to be able to review them.
Yeah,
Tell
they
people
are
what we
awesome
think.
and we greatly
What
appreciate
knife
it.
is that again?
That's a fact.
Okay, that's a fact.
That's a fact. It's 417 fact.
Yeah, personal preferences sort of thing now, or
File diagnosis.
Yeah.
Paul, SOCP.
If I had to buy one, I'd buy a fact.
You'd buy the fact.
I'd buy the fact over the SOCP.
Yeah.
I don't hate the SOCP. It's just not my style of knife.
We didn't dabble on it before. One last quick little dabble. D2 G10 steel liners. Price point US MSRP is $210. By the way,
Not terrible.
that's not a terrible price point. Last week we dabbled on the aileron for a $50 higher price point with S30, which is arguably an equal steal to what D2 is offering. Price point I would take an SOCP folder over an aileron any day of the week.
Yeah, me too.
Because of what the price point's going on.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had enough tactical aid to actually would be willing to buy this guy, but as far as fit in the hand, how it feels, the intended usage, and be able to draw it in the non-lethal sort of aspect, I really like all those things. But this guy is just so much more classy, and I would take this guy first myself.
That's a much more civilian-y black class version of a black class, for sure.
This thing's going to disappear in your pocket, too, which is nice.
This converted me to tip-down carry in some applications.
Some applications.
Being in a non-lethal environment where you can grab that pocket clip where it is, draw it out, and have either a window breaker, a Kubaton, whatever it may be, in that non-lethal striking environment. Actually, I really appreciate, and it made me think about other EMT versions, things with seatbelt cutters, things that have other applications on why they might be tipped down.
I was going to say,
on being able to deploy them like that.
I really want to get the new triage, and is it 4-point swappable clip on that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
if it is, I'm going to try it tip down just to see if I can get used to it, so that I can get to that, because the glass breaker is going to be the first thing I'm going to use in a situation like that, probably.
Now the downside to tip down is if the window punch is protruding much farther out of the knife. There's other companies that do it that I'm not a big fan of. When you put it in your pocket, if you are putting it in your pocket, that will dig a hole in your pocket, and it will end up creating a hole in your pocket, and you'll end up replacing pants just because you have something tipped down with a window punch on the bottom of it.
With some of those companies too, with how far they stick out, if you have it sticking out the top of your pocket, it digs into your hip real bad too.
Yeah,
they're not
bent or anything.
So it's
this hiding away is really nice.
It's discreet enough that it doesn't have a problem. And even Spyderco one step further, where they've got a rescue knife that recesses completely into the handle. That's genius.
Yeah, you should deploy it.
But arguably the next best thing is the Benchmade window punch that they've got compared to the other companies, and even the gas station stuff that you see that is sticking out a quarter inch. That is just asking you to pay hundreds of dollars replacing your jeans more than anything else, right? So Downside to tip down, if you are going to carry tip down with a rescue situation, I evaluate how much you're finding the pokey factor on your jeans.
I'm thinking tip down in my back pocket. So
Yeah.
I might not have the same kind of flex that I'm going to have to worry about.
Could be. You could end up drilling a hole through your back pocket.
Yeah, and we'll test it and see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. So overall, not my cup of tea either. Not a knife I would personally own. I've got valets on order and things like that that I'm very happy about. And so opposite direction of what an SOCP folder is. But for the guys who like the style, Joe, you suck, by the way.
You suck.
This will be Joe's knife, I'm sure, eventually.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't think he's doing a very good job of talking himself out of it. So
No, don't think so.
I think that's it.
I think final conclusions, done and over with. We're done with this. It's a wrap, folks.
Alrighty. So yeah, that's all. We will see you all next week again, and enjoy your time. Tell us what you think of these guys. Follow us along on Instagram. Like, share, subscribe to the YouTube, and do all that fun jazz and help us grow. We will catch you again. Nigel the Smith signing off.
I am who I am. I'm Dennis Vipers.
I'm XL.ca. Joe sucks.
He sucks.
Joe, Iron Joe, the Joseph with the Josephsons, sucks.
Sucks.
We don't need bigger knife. Yeah.